All right, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending upon where you are in the world, and welcome to today's DevOps.com webinar. I'm Charlene O'Hanlon, moderator for the event, and I welcome you. We have a great event on tap. I'm so excited about this one because there's a demo. But before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items we need to go over. First of all, today's event is being recorded. So if you miss any or all of the event, you will have the opportunity to access it later on. Following today's webinar, we will be sending out an email that contains a link to access the webinar on demand. And we are taking questions from the audience. So if at any time during today's presentation, you have a question for either of our speakers, please don't wait, don't hesitate. Just use your question and answer tab on your interface and submit your question, and we'll try to get to as many as we can near the end of today's webinar. We also have a very interactive chat feature, so please feel free at any time during the presentation to chat us your questions, comments, suggestions, anything you want to share with us. We'll be more than happy to take it, and we might even chat you back. And finally, at the end of today's webinar, we are going to be doing a drawing for 4 $25 Amazon gift cards, as well as a drawing for 2 Joget Academy vouchers. So please stick around. Hopefully you'll be one of our, I guess, 6 lucky winners on today's webinar. All right, with that, let's go ahead and kick off today's webinar, which is creating cloud-native business applications with AI capabilities. Our speakers today are Tina Hui, who is the Director of Marketing at Joget, and Justin Wee, who is the Technical Consultant at Joget. Tina, Justin, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much, Charlene.
Thank you.
You bet.
So
all right, I'm going to take myself off camera, put myself on mute, and let you guys dive in.
Thank you so much, Charlene. Okay, well, we're all excited to be here. I hope you are. I know Justin and I both are. And I'm Tina Hui. Thanks for joining us. I am the Director of Marketing at Joget, responsible for building, supporting, and evangelizing Joget's incredible open source application capabilities for the community and ecosystem to take your organization to the next level. And I am so passionate about empowering projects and teams to make a positive impact while continuing to advance meaningful innovation together. Also, with me is Justin, right there, who is a technical consultant for Joget, and he is responsible for training, support, and evangelizing the Joget open source platform and is passionate about sharing his valuable expertise and know-how. So let's begin. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on chat. I'm guessing the reason why you are in this webinar today is because you are curious about how to operationalize and leverage AI in your business applications. And who isn't? I don't know anyone who isn't intrigued by AI and its possibilities. You are going to love how fast and seamless Justin's demo is on how to use Hat Openshift and Joget to create and implement the AI face recognition application for user verification on Joget and OpenShift. I'm talking about less than an hour fast. But first, let's explore a few insights on AI, some trends, how it's evolving, and its impact on making science fiction a reality. So Gartner recently released a report that 70% of enterprises will use cloud and cloud-based AI infrastructure by 2024. This is major impact, folks. Some of our customers find that leveraging containers and low-code application platforms like Joget has actually saved them up to 60 to 70% of their development time. And this is going to be such an exciting new era of innovation with AI, cloud-native technology, and quantum computing. Did you know it's actually being called the 4th Industrial Revolution? Just consider that perhaps this was what it was like to be in the industrial revolutions before us. It's all really exciting, and it's happening. What about you and your team? Are you ready for AI? I sure hope so. And so the innovation is already here, improving lives every day. Whether we notice it or not, artificial intelligence and machine learning are all around us, making lives easier and better, including yours. The technology can and is applied to many different sectors and industries if you think about it, starting with our daily lives. You can ask Siri or Alexa what the weather is, or just look it up on your phone, which just also happens to be able to translate a language for you and recognize your image to unlock it. Other examples include like machines with AI, with computers that play chess and self-driving cars. Breaking it down, each of these machines must weigh the consequences of any action they take, as each action will impact the end result. So in chess, the end result is winning the game. And for self-driving cars, the computer system must account for all the external data and compute it to act in a way that prevents a collision. So what is AI exactly? In short, AI is nothing but a mechanism to mimic the human brain in a machine. The processing that your brain does, such as learning, problem solving, rationalizing, and taking the best action to achieve a specific goal. AI is also how Netflix recommends what to watch for you based on what your watch history is, which is kind of cool, right? Like, I actually really appreciate it all the time. So anyways, next up, we have a poll. And in this poll, we are curious. Are you planning to create business applications with AI capabilities? And we would love to know your answers. Is it within 3 months, 6 months, a year? Do you not have any plans yet? I'll let everybody get a chance to answer, and we'll maybe come back to it later. But we'll continue on. Hopefully, you're planning because you don't want to be behind on this curve. You see, if we can move to the next slide, AI optimization is proving to be a game changer. If we look at Gartner's 2021 AI hype cycle, AI projects continue to progress despite the uncertainties of the pandemic, including healthcare, bioscience, manufacturing, financial services, and supply chain sectors. If you look at the blue dots, they indicate that there is so much activity in these sectors and investment. Those are the ones that will be deployed in the next 2 to 5 years. And just looking at it is so exciting. That is so much AI being implemented in the super near future. Trust me, you don't want to be left behind. So what impact can AI make in today's business? If you are not already planning with cloud native apps and AI, you should start today. And it looks like a bunch of folks already are planning on it in the chat. So that's wonderful. You can literally leverage AI in any of these areas. And the possibilities are limitless. According to Forbes, 83% of businesses share that AI is a strategic priority for their business today. As organizations continue to automate day-to-day operations, AI is improving the efficiency of progress. So you want to give AI a try? It's actually not as complicated as it normally can be with Red Hat OpenShift and Joget. The upcoming demo that Justin is going to show will show you how you can leverage Joget's low-code native cloud AI application to implement a face recognition verification feature and make it easier for you to customize the AI models that your data science has created and embed it into your delivery. It's really kind of seamless and awesome. Businesses need to build AI models for the benefits of automation, and no-code technologies provide savings in time, money, and resources. Cloud-native apps empower AI technology, and AI is becoming the driver of cloud computing. While no-code solutions don't fully replace a developer functionally, they do help devs deliver and focus on more difficult projects. AI research, build, and integration is often time-consuming, experience-dependent, and expensive. Becoming cloud-native can lead to more efficient and happier development teams. And if you're building AI in this stage, I bet you are thinking about cloud containers, implementation, adaptive environments, and the ability to build applications with drag and drop. And the good news, OpenShift and Joget can deliver all of those for you. Using Joget's open source, low-code, no-code, cloud-native application platform, companies can deploy apps at scale using massive cloud computing and storage capabilities to their advantage. So this takes us to the next slide, and you can see how the environment grows or pivots with your development. Now that you know why AI, cloud-native, and containers are important, building a culture of continuous innovation, as you all know, can be difficult without proper infrastructure. Red Hat, OpenShift, and Joget can make it easy by accelerating your capabilities and make the most of the resources. Looking at the slide, notice how Red Hat OpenShift in the red automates and accelerates your infrastructure deployment, making it easy to accelerate your application lifecycle. Meanwhile, Joget in the green takes a process which would normally take a team weeks of building in R&D, if not months, and allows for the creation of a business application within the hour by saving 60 to 70% of the time. And the possibilities are endless, including AI, team task management, workflow processes, and so much more. You can actually go check out the Joget Marketplace. I love looking at it, and it gives me so many ideas, so I encourage everyone to take a look. And Joget and Red Hat as a package deliver efficient, fast, and operational code together. Red Hat OpenShift accelerates your infrastructure needs, while Joget accelerates your business developer needs. Cloud native and low code platforms are important movements in business application and workflow development, which is this emerging new movement. And Joget's cloud native application platform gives you the cloud native power to feel the need and ability to build business applications faster and seamlessly integrate fully functioning feature sets, bringing together the 4 key elements to deliver quickly and with quality: cloud native, low code platform, DevOps, drag and drop. And this brings us to our next poll. If you are building business applications with AI capabilities, will you plan to do custom development or leverage low code platforms? We're totally, there's no polls showing up in the polls section. That's terrible. Thank you for telling us, Edward. Can you guys answer in the chat and we could look at it later? Oh, here it is. Yay. Please let us know and we'll definitely get back to it. I'm really curious to know what your answers are, and maybe we could revisit it later. If you are starting to think about custom dev, go see how low code is changing the landscape. And if you're here already, at least you're not behind on the movement, and I hope you will get ahead of it and invest, because AI is the future and it's going to be everywhere. Anyways, while the future of AI evolves, the developing environment is exciting and full of discoveries, opportunities, and progress. What used to take days and possibly weeks of R&D can now take minutes with the presence of cloud-native application platforms like Joget, powered by Red Hat OpenShift, allowing you to compete with giants in your industry. We encourage you to continue to consider the benefits and downsides to see if you're ready to make the switch to a cloud-native system by checking out Joget's blog, webinars, and the team's expertise on deploying Joget for low-code application development. Thank you for listening to all of that. With that, let's welcome Justin, who will be taking us through a demo of a Red Hat and Joget-powered AI possibility with no infrastructure to a fully deployed application in just a matter of minutes. Thanks, Justin.
All right, thank you so much, Tina. Okay, so now we have arrived at the demo portion. And to start off the demo, we are going to begin with absolutely no infrastructure, all the way until having an app that can take advantage of TensorFlow AI to automate decision-making in business workflows. So right here, I'm going to show you a short clip of the how to deploy Joget in the OpenShift Contain platform. This is a shortened video. So if you want a full-length video tutorial, you can head to the Joget YouTube channel and learn over there. Okay, so with that said, now starting off from the Red Hat OpenShift Container platform, we are currently logged in as the cluster admin. And this is the overview page we're seeing here. So before we can deploy Joget, we need the JogetDX operator. So right now, we are going to the operator hub. So here we can see a catalog of operators from the community in Red Hat partners. So let's search for the Joget operator right here. And here it is. So all we need to do is click on install. And what happens is it will retrieve the operator from the source, install, and subscribe it to the cluster. So this will make it available for the developer team to self-service and manage the product across deployment environments. So now over here, we can confirm that the JogetDX operator has been installed. So we are ready to deploy Joget. So right now, we are going to switch to the developer view here. So now in the topology section, we'll create a new project for this demo. So let's just name this as demo, okay, and create a project. And great. So right now, we have a blank project, and we will add Joget from the catalog. And the catalog here will display all operators that is installed by the cluster admin, which we have done earlier. So we'll just select the operator and create an instance of it. Okay, so there's a mini setup here. For now, we can just leave the default values and proceed. Okay, so now that we're done with the configuration, we will be redirected back to the topology view for this demo project, and an icon will show up to represent the deployment. So as the container startup, you can see status from the progress ring here, and we can also click on it to see more details about this deployment. So we can see the pods running here, and we can see some ports exposed, and there's a public URL to access the Joget platform here. Okay, so while we wait for Joget to deploy, let's go ahead and add a database for Joget to work with. So we will click on add, okay, and we will click on database right here. Okay, so Joget supports various RDBMSs such as major providers like MySQL, MS SQL, Oracle, and MariaDB. So for this demo, we will choose MySQL and instantiate the template. So there will be some configuration to do, so we just need to make sure it's in the correct project and fill in the required fields over here. So we're going to fill up all these important details, and that's okay. So we're done. Let's create the blank database. Okay, so now we have created a blank MySQL database. We can use it with Joget. So as you can see here, the Joget container has a complete blue ring. So this means it's already active and the pod is running. So now we just have to wait for the database to complete its deployment. So let's give some time. And that's it, right? So now we have both of them active and running. We can access the public URL here, or we can click on a shortcut here too to go into Joget. And it won't take, okay, right. So excellent. So now we are at the database setup page for Joget. We'll just have to point it to the MySQL database that we created earlier and click save. Okay. So once we do that, and just give it a few seconds, and that's it. Right. So here we go. So Joget has already been deployed. Just to give you some perspective, a typical manual deployment, it can take about days, weeks, at times even months, just to set up the hardware, configure the server, the environment, just doing those alone, right? But with the Hat Openshift Container Platform, all it took was about 10 minutes, and to go from nothing until having Joget in the database, deployed completely, ready to use, and ready to scale on demand. So with that said, now we can come to our Joget instance here. Okay, so this is my instance of Joget, and I would like to give you a really quick overview of what Joget really is. So as you heard from Tina earlier, Joget is a no-code, low-code digital transformation platform that allows us to easily build web applications that is mobile responsive and easy to deploy, right? So over here, what we're seeing here is the landing page, the Joget App Center. So on right here, we can see that we have a few sample apps installed. So when we click on it, it's going to launch the app. So we can think of this as the home screen of your smartphone, right? So let's get on with the, now that we're done deploying Joget, let's start creating an app. Okay, so first we're going to click on Design New App. Okay, and over here, I'm going to call it Demo AI. Okay, let's give it a meaningful name. Click on Save. And give it a few more seconds. Okay, so right here, we have a blank Joget app. And now it's up for us to design the AI for this app. So first, we're going to start off by creating a new form. Okay, and let's name this form Compare. So as we already know, what we're doing today is to create an app that can take advantage of facial recognition. So let's give it another meaningful name. Let's call this Demo AI and click on Save. Okay, so right here, this is the form builder. So in Joget, it's really easy to create a form. It's a very simple drag and drop experience, and your form should be ready. So right now, I would like to imagine a use case here. So let's say we want to perform facial recognition for a document submission app, right? So we can imagine that the back office is going to upload a profile photo of everyone beforehand. And for the end user to submit documents, they need to perform a facial recognition. So they take their device and take a selfie, for example, and upload it. So over here, let's simulate that. And just to clarify, today is not about creating a document submission app. Today is about giving you the baseline of what is needed to start taking advantage of AI. So right here, I'm going to edit this section and I'm going to give it a meaningful name. So let's call this internal office use. And we are going to insert a image upload field in here. So let's drag it in. Okay. And I'm going to edit it. And let's call this image 1. Click OK. Right. So imagine this is the image upload field where the back office is going to upload a image or profile of everyone. And now I'm going to have another section. Let's call this requester use. Okay, so we can now imagine this section is for the end users to take a selfie and upload their image here. So again, I'm going to drag in a image upload field. And this time I'm going to call it image 2. Okay. Okay, so right now, all we need is just both of these images for our AI to start comparing later on. So that's pretty much it, all we need for this form here. So I'm going to click on Save. And okay, we are done with this form. So we'll come back to our app design. Okay, here is our form. So now that we have a way for end users to upload images, now all we need is a process for the AI to act on. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new process. Okay, so now we are in the process builder. The experience here is very familiar. It's the drag and drop experience. So first we'll start off by editing this process. So let's give this a meaningful name. So let's call this facial recognition. Same for the name. Okay. And for the workflow variable here, I'm going to insert distance. If you do not know what is this for, don't worry. Later, I'm going to clarify and you'll know what this workflow variable is used for. So later on, I'm going to use this workflow variable to store the result of the AI. So let's click OK. And now here we have a blank process. Okay, so this is the participant swim link here. So let's give it a meaningful name. So let's call this the requester. And click OK. Right. So now let's start crafting our process. So first, I'm going to drag in an activity. Okay, link it. So over here would be our compare activity. So at this point is where end users will start to upload images. So let's name it accordingly. Okay. And now I'm going to drag in a route and point this here to flow. So in this route here is where the AI is going to do its magic later on. Okay, and now we want two possibilities, two possible flows in this process, basically match, or if the images do not match. Okay, so we're going to drag an activity, two of them. Oh, okay, just drag it in here. Okay, and I'm going to draw out two possible flows, and I need to remember to end it, to end appropriately. Okay, tidy up a little bit. Okay, so let's name this activity quickly. So let's call this the match. And I'm going to call this activity no match. All right. Okay, so in a typical approval process, it's typically always a requester and an approver, two separate rules working together. But with AI, there's no need for the approver role at all. So as you can see here, it's just this requester alone, and the AI is going to take care of the decision making for us. So now that we have our process done, all we have to do is click on deploy and give it a few seconds for it to complete. And done. Our deployment is successful. So we just need to close the process builder and refresh. So let's give it a few seconds for it to refresh. And we are good. Okay, so now we have our process and all these fields here, all these mappings, they are following the process that we created. So for the participant, let's just select the appropriate participant quickly. So participant form of run process. Okay. So we're done mapping our participant. So don't forget to map the form that we created earlier. So previously it is the compare form that we created. So let's map the form to the compare activity. So down here, compare activity, let's add the compare form. Okay, so the compare form has been mapped. I'm just going to check these other fields. And right now, here is where we start to set up the AI. So for, under this tab here called Map Routes to Plugins, we can add a plugin here to make decisions for us. And you'll notice there's a plugin here called the Simple TensorFlow AI Decision Plugin. And just for your information, the Simple TensorFlow AI Decision plugin is already available by default in every Joget installation, so you can get started quickly. Okay, so once we click on this plugin, so it's going to ask us to configure this plugin. So this is the point where we will provide a AI model, and we will fill in the inputs accordingly. So right now, I actually already have an app. I've already configured the AI beforehand to save some time. So I'm going to quickly jump to the app and show you what the configuration roughly means. Okay, just to give you a brief rundown of it. So I'm going to show you here. Okay, so right here is where I upload the pre-trained AI model. So where I got this AI model is I would like to give credits to FaceNet for providing the pre-trained AI model. So you can go there and check out their GitHub page. And I would like to also give credits to VGG Phase 2 for providing the training data set for this AI model that we will be using today. So coming back to Joget, over here, we have uploaded our pre-trained AI model. And here we feed it the first image that we are going to feed the AI the first image from the first image upload field. And down here, we also fed the second image to the AI. So now that the AI has received these two inputs, and we want to be able to process both of those images and provide a result that we can act upon. So down here, we added a post-processing. In this case, I've added a Euclidean distance. So what this does is I point it to both of the images, and it's going to give me a number as a result. So with this result here, okay, and by the way, just to clarify real quick, okay, if you're unsure of what Euclidean distance mean, in AI terms, it basically means the similarities, the rate of similarities between two objects. And in this case of today's demo, it is how similar is it both of these images are. So down here, now that we have the result, we can start to define the rules and tell the AI what to do if it finds a match. So down here in the rules, it's a simple if-else statement. So we can define it as if the result here from the AI is less or equal to about a value of 0.7, and we will consider this a match. So in the action down here, we will tell it to transition to a match flow, and we are going to store the result into the distance workflow variable. So anything that is not within this condition, we would basically consider it not a match. So don't forget to add the non-matching condition down here, the transition, and also store the result into the workflow variable. So that's about it, right? So the AI has been already configured, and there's one last step that we need to do. So I'm going to close this. Okay, so now remember we have our form, we have our process, and we have our AI configured. Now all we need to do is make this available to the front end to start using it. So we're going to come back to our forms in UI, and we are going to create a user view. So a user view is basically how the front end users, the end users is going to interact with our app. So I'm going to click on create new user view, and I'm going to give it a meaningful name. So let's call this demo AI. there's a typo there. And just to make it clear, facial recognition. And click on save. Let's just give it a few moments. Come on. I hope you guys can hang in there for a while. My computer is loading. Okay, right. So now the user view is ready. Let's launch it. Okay, right. So here, this is the user view builder. So as we can see, it's a very familiar experience again. We have our canvas and we have our user view menus over here. So to add them into our user view canvas, it's a simple drag and drop again. So now we have our process. We want to have our end users to start those processes. So let's drag in a run process menu here. Oh, don't forget, I'm going to add a user view category first and give it a meaningful name. So let's call this facial recognition and drag in a run process menu and edit it. And this time we're going to point it to our facial recognition process. And let's change the label to something more meaningful. So start facial recognition process. Okay, save. And now all I'm going to do is drag in a inbox so we can see the progression of the process in here. So in the inbox is configured correctly already, so we'll just leave it as is and click on save. Okay, so let's give it a few more seconds to save. Okay. Okay, right. So the user view has been saved. So at this point, our app is ready for use. So there's one last thing we need to do. Let's test it out. So let's close it. And don't forget to publish the app because at this point, this app is still unpublished and it's not available in the Joget App Center yet. So let's click here and select our app and publish the app. All right, it should be published very soon. Okay, right. So our app has been successfully published. And if I were to refresh the Joget App Center, you can see that the app is now in the App Center and now end users can start to launch this app and use it. So let's launch the app. All right, so over here, we have our run process menu. So let's try our facial recognition app. So let's start. Okay, so over here, we need two images to start comparing them. So I have some images ready already. So in here, this is the first image that I'm going to upload. So basically, this is an image of me in my holiday. And the second image I'm going to upload is this. So the background is very similar, and all I have is a different facial expression. So let's see how the AI can evaluate this. So I drag the first image into the first image upload field, and my second image into the second image upload field, and click complete. So now the AI is going to start to work its magic and compare the images, and we will see very soon if both of these images are a match. Okay, right. So as you can see, we have gone to the match activity. So yes, the AI has considered it a match, and we can see that the value of the Euclidean distance value has been stored into our workflow variable called distance. So just to be sure that it is indeed flowing to the correct process flow, we can go to the Joget monitor, and we go to running processes and click into it. So down here, we can see the progression of this process flow, and we can see, yes, it has indeed flowed to the correct activity. So right now, I'm going to run a second test. Let's see how robust this AI is. So I'm going to click on start process again, and I'm going to use the first image of myself for the first image. But this time, for the second image here, I'm going to make it a bit more challenging. So this is the second image of me, But there are a few differences here. So number one, the background is really different. And this is a photo of me 5 years ago. So there are some differences. And the photo is of a low resolution photo. So let's see if the AI can still work its magic. So I'm going to drag the second image down here. And again, I'm going to click complete. So right now, the AI is going to work its magic again. So let's see if the AI can still work out and see if it's still me. So here we go, right? The AI still considers a match. Now, let's try one more. Let's see if the AI can really recognize me and against a different person. So same thing. I'm going to drag the first image of myself. And this time, I'm going to use an image of a completely different person, right? So just for your information, this image, I got it from thispersondoesnotexist.com. So this person does not exist at all. It's just a random AI-generated image. So I'm going to drag it in here. Now let's see what happens when I submit it. Okay. So let's give it a few seconds for the AI to work its magic. All right, so as you can see here, this time, the AI has determined that this is not a matching, both of these images does not match at all. Okay, so just like that, we have already created an app that already take advantage of AI, all the way from having no infrastructure and having an app that's already ready to use in a matter of a few minutes. Okay, so I can anticipate that some of you here may be excited and you want to start trying this app out for your own. So no worries, I got you covered. So if you come to the Joget knowledge base over here, this is the knowledge base for the Simple TensorFlow AI decision plugin. So over here, it's going to tell you all of the description of all of the configurations of this plugin. And if you notice here, we do have a sample app for you guys. So if you want to try it out, go ahead, download the sample app, and go ahead and download the pre-trained AI model too, import it into your own Joget, and immediately start trying it out. So with that said, the demo is done, and I hope you managed to learn something new here today. And I'm going to hand this session back to Tina. Thank you.
You don't look that different from 5 years ago, Justin.
Well, I age a bit slow.
Well, I mean, that's a good thing. Okay, well, thank you all for sitting through the demo with me and Justin. I thought it was incredible. I don't know about you. I believe we're going to continue on. And before we close, we can get to some great questions and some of the poll. So I think that we're going to go into questions. Oh, no, poll first. Okay, are you planning to create business applications with AI capabilities? We still want to know if it's going to be within 3 months, 6 months, within a year, or no, you don't have a plan yet. And I think, at least in chat, it seems, well, maybe I could put in my yes. Why not? We'll say yes. In chat, it seemed at least that a bunch of you haven't had any plans yet. So hopefully Justin's demo encouraged you to give it a shot and try and check it out. And then, maybe get involved with Joget and OpenShift and see what's possible, because it's pretty exciting. Now I guess we could go to the Q&A.
Yeah, so yes, plenty of time for question and answer period. We do have, we have gotten one or two questions. Well, we've got one question in so far, but there's plenty of time, guys. If you have a question, please, now is the time. Go ahead and get your question on in, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. Here is the first question. Is the TensorFlow plugin part of the product? Justin, you want to go ahead and address that one?
Sorry,
Did you hear it?
Hello. Yeah, I couldn't catch the few seconds of what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Again?
Yep, the question is the TensorFlow plugin part of the product?
Right. So as I mentioned previously, so the simple TensorFlow AI decision plugin is already baked into Joget itself. So it's available on every default Joget installation. So once you install Joget, it's already there. You can just try it out. straight away.
Oh,
Yep.
all right, great, awesome. Okay, next question. Can this integrate with other AI engines?
Other AI engines. So that is a very good question. So in terms of what we have in Joget now, we are supporting TensorFlow AI implementation. So as long it is implemented, it is implemented with TensorFlow. So just add on a little bit more. So today you saw facial recognition. So there are many other TensorFlow implementations out there. So the possibilities are endless. There is voice translation, there is a text recognition from voice, and there is object detection, and many, many more. So yes, and if it's a different type of implementation, let's say if it's not TensorFlow, not process tools, decision plugins, in this case, is pluggable. So if you have a really customized use case, you can go ahead and create a plugin and plug it into Joget.
All right, great. Real quick, before we move forward with the next question, I do want to let the folks know that we have in our handout section, we have a full complement of videos, articles, just stuff for you guys to take and enjoy and hopefully learn as much about Joget as you want to. The stuff is in there for you now. You can feel free to download it. Do whatever you need to do with it. But I did want to let everybody know about that before we got to the end of the webinar. So I wanted to give you enough time that anything you wanted to download, you have the time to do now. Here's another question for you. Can you also create plugins with any other AI engine?
Can you create plugins with any other AI engine? So let me try to understand the question for a while. Plugins with any TensorFlow. Sorry, can you repeat the question again, just so I can
Sure.
grasp it?
The question is, can this integrate with other, and I'm sorry, can you also create plugins with any other AI engine?
The answer is yes, right? So Joget, we have a extensive plugin architecture. So it really depends what you need, right? So sometimes it's about making decisions. At times it can be formatting a value on its own, or whichever the case is. So with Joget's plugin architecture, you can create plugins and integrate with any of your AI solutions and plug it into Joget. So yes.
All right, great. Next question here. From the demo, can we adjust the confidence rating from the AI on how it decides a match or a no match?
Right. So that is a very good question. Thank you. So very quickly, I'm going to jump back into the demo and show you how exactly you can tune the confidence level. So in the context of the demo that we have today, so I'm going to go to the AI configuration here quickly. All right. So as we recalled earlier, so we have the post-processing here, Euclidean distance, and it's going to output us a value to determine how similar two images are. So down here is where we define the rules to tell the AI where to flow to depending on the result. So over here, you notice that I've set the result to be, if it's less or equal to 0.7, it considers it a match. So let's say right now you want to tune the values. So let's say you have a case of false positives, right? So let's say there are different images, different persons, and it's still considering a match, and you want to tune the values even more. So in this case, we can lower down the value here, let's say to 0.6, or to even tighter tolerances like 0.5, for example. So by the lower the value here, it's basically demanding that the images must be really matching, right? But of course, if you put a value too low, you might encounter cases of false negatives, right? So it's more of a trial and error kind of thing. So once you gather a few trials that you have, you can come over here and tune the values. All right, so I hope that answers the question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Next question. That one was from Hugo. Here's another one from Hugo. Can the TensorFlow AI plugin support other AI applications other than facial recognition? I think you've actually already addressed this, but I'll let you answer it again.
All right, sure thing. Yeah, so for that question, absolutely, right? So I'm going a bit on the fly here, and I'm going to show you. You can go to your Google. So let's say you can search for TensorFlow, GitHub. So let's say if you want some voice recognition, so let's try. And over here, we can already see there are plenty of implementations that many people have created, right? So let's say if you want to try some speech recognition, we can go to their repository. We can read about their documentation to learn how to tune it. And all we need is just the protobuf file, the AI model itself. So you can go through them and just download the AI model if they provide it. So this is just one of the examples here for voice recognition. There are plenty more that I cannot mention finish. Right. So yeah, that's a good question. Thank you.
All right, great. The next question here, let's see, do we have any more? Here's a good one. Can this app be made available, and where can we download if it is?
All right. So today we created the facial recognition app. So if you want to find this app, I have a sample app in our own Joget knowledge base here. So all you have to do is search for simple TensorFlow AI decision plugin. So you can see there should be some results here, okay, over here. And you just have to click on download sample app. So this sample app here, it's almost exactly the same as what we're doing today. So all you have to do is download the sample app. Don't forget to download the Pretrained AI model too. Import both of them into Joget, and you can get started straight away.
All right, great. All right, so that's those are all the questions that we have right now. I'm going to go ahead and leave the question and answer tab open to see if we get any last minute questions coming in. While we are waiting, I do want to just once again remind the audience of the goodness of the handouts that we have in the handouts tab. Lots of stuff in there. We've got some videos for you. We've got some articles. We've got some data sheets, so please go ahead and avail yourself of all of those handouts, or whatever you want that's available to you. Also, just a quick reminder that today's event has been recorded, so if you missed any or all of the event, or if you just want to watch it again, you'll have the opportunity to do so. We will be sending out an email after today's webinar that contains a link to access the webinar on demand. And the webinar is also going to be living on the devops.com website, so you can go find it there. Just go to devops.com/webinars and look in the on-demand section, and it should be right there waiting for you. All right, let's see if we got any final questions come in. Da-da-da.
If I can share some of your poll answers are really interesting. It seems like 19% of you are a yes within 3 months for AI. Some of you, 6% within 6 months, and then 19% of you within a year, where 56% don't have a plan yet. So hopefully this kind of encourages you. And it says, if you are building business applications with AI capabilities, will you plan to do custom development or leverage low-code platforms? In answer to that question, that's great that 32% of you are doing custom development and 26% of you are considering leveraging low-code platforms. And of course, there's 42% that don't have a plan yet. So now you know what your options are.
That's awesome. Those are some interesting answers for sure. I actually would have thought that most organizations would actually be a little farther down the path because of just the benefits that AI does bring to an organization, no matter how easy or simple or complex the AI technology is. So this is some interesting. These are some interesting answers here. So it's actually very insightful as well. So thanks for that, Tina. All right. So with that, before we close things out, let's go ahead and do the drawing for the 4 $25 Amazon gift cards and the 2 Joget Academy vouchers. Let's see. Big winners today. Drum roll, please. We'll start with the Amazon winners, our $25 Amazon gift card winners. First one is Wendy Q. Congratulations, Wendy. Our second winner today is Edward H. Congratulations, Edward. Our third winner today is Jim D. Congratulations, Jim D. And our final winner for the Amazon gift cards today is David S. Congratulations, David. We will follow up with you guys via email to get your Amazon gift card over to you. So please check your inbox. And if you don't see anything there, please check your spam folder. Now for the Joget Academy vouchers. Let's see, our first winner today is Joel H. Congratulations, Joel. And our second winner today is Bianca P. Congratulations, Bianca. So Joel and Bianca, the folks from Joget, will reach out to you directly and get those vouchers over to you. So please, again, check your inbox. And again, if you don't see anything there, please check your spam folder. Well, I do want to thank the audience for the questions that did come in. There were some really, really good ones. So we do appreciate your interaction there, and also appreciate you guys interacting with the poll questions. As I said before, those are some very, very insightful answers, and kind of gives me just a bird's eye view into what's happening in the AI space in general. So thanks for that. Tina and Justin, great presentation. Thanks so much. I especially enjoy watching those demos, so did not disappoint. So thanks to you both. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Charlene.
Thank you.
I also want to thank the audience for joining me today. I'm giving you 9 minutes back in your day. This is Charlene O'Hanlon, and I'm signing off. Have a great day, everybody, and please stay safe.